We're joined now by Hall of Famer Rod Woodson. Let's move to some big stories, starting in Dallas, where the Cowboys offense finally showed up yesterday, blowing out the Jaguars 40-7. Dak Prescott put up his best game of the season, and afterward, even the Jags' notorious trash talker, Jalen Ramsey, didn't have a whole lot to say.
How much of a shock is it that this defense comes in and gets their ass beat, considering the talent you guys have?
I don't know, man.
You guys have played together a lot as a second year. How do you kind of explain some of the blown assignments that you guys had early in this game?
That was fun.
Coach said that he felt like it wasn't an effort issue, it was a miscommunication issue. Do you agree with that?
I don't know.
Jalen, what challenge did Cole Beasley pose today?
I don't know.
Defense usually plays with a lot of swagger and confidence. What needs to happen to kind of get you guys motivated?
I don't know.
Love the hat, don't love the answer.
I feel the
Now
pain.
you don't want
I
to
feel
talk.
the pain.
Marcel, Cowboys fixed or the Jaguars a mess?
Jaguars are a hot mess. You look at the Jaguars and the expectations coming off the AFC Championship game. Some people suggested, and I think they internalized, that they should have won that game if they stayed aggressive in the second half. And what happens when you start to think like that, oh, we should have had that one, we get them next time, is that you don't go back to square one. And square one is how they got to the AFC Championship game with that vaunted defense and the running game. And what you're seeing now, especially the last 2 weeks, is time of possession coming back to kill this team. No Leonard Fournette. All of a sudden, you can't pound them. When you can't pound them, the defense that is so great is on the field to the tune of 38 minutes for the Cowboys. And then you look at the KC game, their tongues are hanging out of their mouth, and all of a sudden, they're not talking to trash. They're out there looking like trash. So I think right now, time of possession, no running game, is starting to erode this team.
I watched that game. I love the way Dak Prescott played. And again, didn't throw for a bunch of yards, but the 80-some-odd rushing yards coupled with the 182 in the air, I think the game was more about the Cowboys finding themselves and the Jaguars being a little bit of one-hit wonders last year.
You know, I look at the game and go with the Dallas Cowboys first. I enjoyed watching Dak play the way he played, all right? And I say that because he got to the first read, he went to the second read, and then he got out. And then that's who Zach is. He's not going to throw for 350 yards. He's not going to have those big games like that. He'll have a couple here and there in his career, but he should be comfortable with that. And then you give the ball to Zeke, has to touch the ball 25 to 30 times in the game, either rushes and passes. And he had 25. He had 24 rushes, 1 reception. So if they can stay within that mantra, that offense is going to be okay, because that defense is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It really is. It really is. And then, but when you look in Jacksonville, I think their defense is still good. They're not as good as what everybody thought they were going to be this year. You can't just show up and think you're going to be the best team in the National Football League week in and week out. But my key is for them is that I never been a fan of, and I never believed in Blake Bortles being that star quarterback who could take this team to the next level. When you watch him play, he's the weak link of that whole football team. And if they don't have a backup quarterback and they don't have an answer to that to help this defense outside of the running game, it's going to be a long year for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I agree with you what you said about Dak for sure. This is what you need to do. Because my new benchmark for quarterbacks in the NFL is you got to have 250 yards. But the rules, the way they're set up, you should be able to get 250 yards unless you are out there running for over 50 yards. Then you can have below that 200-yard mark. And him, I think he's had one game over 200 yards in the last 6-7 games going back to last year. So use your feet, Dak. And that's the only way I will buy you as a franchise quarterback from here on out. And then looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think the worst thing to ever happen to them was to come out and play so well against New England that second game. But that was fool's gold, because that wasn't the New England team that we see now. And they got all big a little bit. And then Strahan talks about this. He said, when people have great success, AFC Championship games, Super Bowls, the hardest thing coming back next year is every player on that team thinks, we made it because of me. And when you have that attitude, that slows your progress down. And I think this is what's going on with Jacksonville. Ramsey is getting all that attention. Everybody thinks it's because of me that we got there. And now all of a sudden, that attitude creeps up on you. I had it. We went to NFC Championship game. We came back. I think we won 2 games the next year. It happens. This is why teams are so different from year to year.
Same might be true with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a story for another day. All right, to a big story in the AFC North, where the Steelers continued their climb back into contention yesterday. We're in a back-and-forth battle with the Bengals. Pittsburgh got a big game out of running back James Conner, and even Le'Veon Bell gave him props on Twitter. Bell is supposed to be coming back this week, but reportedly did show up today. Marcellus, would adding Bell make the Steelers a legitimate, he did not show up today. Would adding Bell make him a legitimate threat in the AFC?
Absolutely. I think they're a legitimate threat without Bell. But you add them to the mix, then you got something to complement what they were last year, 13-3, despite having some issues. And this year, still a winning team despite having issues. And this is no knock at James Conner. But as a defender, when I see James Conner coming, I'm saying in my head, I could keep him in the box. That means I could keep him in the form of reality. Like, everything he's done, I've seen before. But then when Le'Veon Bell's back there, I got to start using imagination. Like, he's going to play outside the box. He's going to jog to the line. He's going to pick his holes, and then he's going to make some plays. And he's going to catch the ball out the backfield and do some things that is just unorthodox. So what happens is a thinking defender is a slower defender. Then we don't react the same. Then we don't play the same. And advantage to you offense. You bring Le'Veon back, now you got something special on offense.
I like bringing Le'Veon back, but I don't have a lot of faith in Ben Roethlisberger not to do dumb things to cost him. And so when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots, I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers on the same level as them because I just think that team's undisciplined, and it starts with Ben Roethlisberger. That's the problem.
You know, I get it because Ben does try to make a lot of plays with that big body. He tries to hold everybody off. He tries to make some throws back across his body. But at the end result, normally in September, they don't play that well. For some odd reason, the last several years, they just start out slow. When they go to Cincy, I knew they were going to win that game because they own Cincy and Cincy. They just believe when they go on the road to Cincy, they go into the jungle, they're going to cut the jungle down. They believe that. And I think when Le'Veon Bell comes here, I'm hoping that Randy Fichtner, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm hoping he's thinking out of the box. That's what I hope. I hope that he puts both those guys, 'cause I think Connor earned the right to carry that rock because he amplifies what the Pittsburgh Steelers, the old Pittsburgh Steelers is, the old steel mill, blue-collar guy running over people. He exemplifies that week in and week out. So hopefully, and they're two different type of runners. So hopefully he'll get Le'Veon out there, put Le'Veon out wide, put Connor in the backfield, vice versa. Have some creativity with your offense for those who running backs and put them on the field at the same time. If they can do that, because the defense has come around a little bit. Yeah. First 2 games, giving up 31 points a game. The last 4 games, only giving up 22. So they're coming around. I think there's still a work in progress. But Le'Veon coming back, they need a baller.
Yeah, huge upgrade. Huge upgrade. Just what the doctor ordered for that offense, for anybody's offense to get a guy like this. This is what the NFL is into now. I think we tracked it last week. 5 running backs in the NFL are on pace to have more than 100 catches this year. That's only been done 3 times in NFL history, and 5 can do it this year. And he's that guy. He's that dynamic guy with the rules, the way they're set up. And guess what that does? Now you got to put an extra guy in the box. Now you can't really double team Antonio Brown every time. He's going to get happy. It makes everybody happy now. Ben Roethlisberger, I know you said he's having a little bit of trouble, but I think this makes him immediately upgrade too and get better. This team just went from here to here as soon as he comes back.
I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch this game in its entirety, but I did from start to finish. I got to give Pittsburgh credit because that was a great game. I thought both teams played well. Both teams handled themselves well. It is a feather in Pittsburgh's cap. But again, when I go back and look at the quarterback play in New England, look at the quarterback play in Kansas City, it's better, it's more consistent than what the Steelers get out of Ben Roethlisberger. He can look good in stretches, and then he can do some of the dumbest things you'll ever see from a veteran quarterback. And I know Tomlin takes a lot of heat for their lack of discipline. I've now come around to the conclusion a lot of it has to do with Big Ben. They got an immature quarterback who sets a bad tone and who does dumb stuff on the field. It's hard for me to trust Pittsburgh.
Well, it's a tough time to say that. I understand the message, but the timing may be off because he's been balling in the last few weeks. If you think about, this is a team that won 3 out of the last 4. If you look at him yesterday, 32 of 46, 360, a touchdown, no interception. Ben's been doing his thing, and this is a team that is equipped to have the 2-back system. Remember D'Angelo Williams and Le'Veon Bell being there, and D'Angelo Williams, a capable starting running back, decided to be a backup running back. So now we have a guy on a rookie deal and James Conner. That's a great 1-2 punch, like you said, a power, a thunder, lightning kind of package you could still go with. But Ben Roethlisberger, I think he gets greatly exaggerated, his demise or his issues, because when they happen, we blow them out of proportion, but then we don't return to reality and give them the full compliment when we see good numbers like yesterday.
All right, coming up, John Gruden's return to the sidelines just keeps getting worse. But is he really to blame for the Raiders' troubles? Find out.
Bush is partnering with the National